right. Hey, everybody. All of my YouTube followers, I know it's been a while since I've done a video. So I am back with another great video for you guys. Okay. So let's get right into it. So as you've probably seen the title, many of you who are home care agency owners, whether you're just starting out or you're in the process of getting your license, or you've already been licensed for a few months and you're kind of stuck, right? Or you're trying to think of ways to get clients. So there's a lot of different options out there to get you clients, but we're going to focus on some of the more consistent ways that you can have clients. So what I'm going to be talking about, if you don't have your Medicaid provider number, which a lot of times you need your Medicaid provider number in order to get contracted with a lot of the mainstream health insurance companies, right? So if you didn't know, now you know. But there are other insurance companies that you can also get contracted with without having a Medicaid provider number. So you know me, I'm always trying to help you guys look for ways to help get you started, get you going without, if you don't have the necessary capital or money to invest in, becoming a Medicaid provider. So there's different home care consultants out there. The prices range from $1,000 on up, to get that assistance with the Medicaid provider number. So no worries, I got you. I'm gonna get you started with some other things that you can do in the meantime. All right, so my first point is, in order to get contracted with some of the other insurance companies outside of the mainstream, which a lot of this information will pertain to mainstream as well. So it's just an extra little preparation for you. So we're going to cover the basics. Number one is the basics. This is the basic information you need, the things you need to have in place in order to get contracted, right? So, of course, you've got to have your license. If you are in a state that requires a license, you must already have your license within that state. Second thing, you need to make sure you have your EIN number, right? You need your EIN number that correlates with your license, the name on your license, which you will also ultimately need a business bank account. All right. So it doesn't matter what insurance company you get contracted with, they need to have a way to get the funds to you, right? After you submit the claims to be paid. Okay, there's some other things you need, right, that are basic. You need a website. Yes, a lot of insurance companies ask for your website. They want to go and look and see what type of services you offer. Make sure you're legit. You're taking things serious, right? You need a business email. This email is going to be your line of communication between care managers, getting referrals, any questions regarding claims, anything like that. You make sure that you have a business email. Another thing is you will need liability insurance, right? So there's a lot of companies out there that offer general liability insurance. You want to make sure that you're getting the requirements that meets your state guidelines. Now, you can ask one of the insurance reps, what's the typical or average amount to get for your home care agency, and go with that. But make sure that you have liability insurance, because they will ask for a copy of your insurance certificate. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have that in place. Now, I know those are basic, but these are things that you need and that they will ask for. Okay, so if you're serious about getting clients and you're serious about your home care agency, you will make sure that you have these basic needs met. All right, number two, we're going to discuss rates. Right, so a lot of the insurance companies that are outside of the mainstream, they will ask what you would consider to be your reimbursement rate. Okay, I know a lot of people struggle on how to come up with a fair rate. So you could Google what's the average rate in your state for whatever particular service, companion care, respite, personal care, personal support, whatever. You can Google that, see what the average rate is, right? And then you want to make sure that it's fair, because although you will have insurance clients, you also want to make sure that it's fair for your private pay clients as well. Okay, so you determine your rate, and that's something that they will ask. So you can have anything in mind, like an example, $22 an hour, $24 an hour, whatever. They're also going to want to know your rate per day, right? So if someone needs a 24-hour shift, or a lot of hours, within the day, so you can have a daily rate of, for example, $150 a day. But that is something that you want to come up with and determine. You can look at what's the average in your state. You can also look at what's the Medicaid reimbursement rate for 24-hour days. And I always like to say, use Medicaid, the Medicaid rates as a guideline in determining your rates. Now, if you're contracted as a Medicaid provider, they're going to tell you the rate that they're going to reimburse you with. But when you're dealing with companies outside of that and private pay clients, you have more flexibility and room to maneuver numbers around, okay? If you understand what I'm saying. And then also, some of the companies will ask you about what would be your charge for a 2-hour minimum. Okay, say you get a client, they ask you, hey, can you take this client? She or he only needs 2 hours, emergency situation or whatever it can be. I mean, for example, you can say, all right, for a 2-hour emergency visit, I want to charge $50. $75, $100. It's up to you. And then when you're doing the contracting, if the company will allow you room to negotiate, that's something that you will have to determine at that time. I myself and my company, we do help with you guys getting contracted with these particular insurance companies. But if you want to do it on your own, I'm just giving you this information to help you out. Okay, so third thing, let's get into who are these companies? What are they? Okay, so these are vendors, and a lot of times they are specific vendors. Third-party vendors, you may have heard that term before. So for an example, a third-party vendor would be AVCC, right? If you haven't heard of this particular third-party vendor, they are specific to serving veterans. Right? So AVCC, that's the acronym. They serve veterans. So they are like the middle person between you and the veteran. Okay? So sometimes, I want to say most times, if you're going to serve veterans, it is wise and a requirement to also have a bond. All right? So for some of you who don't know what a bond is, it's a added level of protection for your workers. So, for example, if you had a worker that went into a veteran's home and he had a valuable watch on the dresser and the worker stole the watch, okay, so the bond insurance would help cover the expenses or the losses to that veteran or particular client, as a claim, and give you some added protection for your agency, so you're not coming out of the pocket, right? So although we hire, different workers and we do background checks, we also have to be aware and cautious and make sure that we're protecting our agency and what we're building at all costs, okay? So that's an example of a third-party vendor. Now, another type of insurance companies would be private. Right? So there are private companies that you can get contracted with. So these private companies, they are also specific. Some specifically serve those clients who are on workers' comp, right? So you can also get contracted with those type of companies. And then there's the third type of insurance company, which would be your long-term care. Okay, so I know that when you become a Medicaid provider. We have the managed care type of providers, and some of them, have long-term care programs. But what I am talking about is those who invest in having a long-term care private policy, a policy that they're paying on their own in the event later on in life they need, home care services or whatever. This particular policy will reimburse the client after they've paid for services. So if you get a client, private pay client, and they have long-term insurance, they have this policy, right? So the client would pay you, and then the long-term insurance would reimburse them for their payment to your agency. So there are a couple of insurance companies that fall under the long-term care. For example, let me see, there's a lot. I'll throw one out there, Genworth, right? So Genworth actually will allow you to get contracted with them as a home care agency. Of course, you have to meet the requirements, and they have to be open to taking on more providers in your area or in your state. So so I just wanted to make this video really quick because I know there's a lot of, new home care agency owners out there, struggling or trying to think of ways to get clients to get some type of revenue coming in. So as I mentioned before, I actually do help. I have several clients that I've helped them get contracted with these particular insurance companies. No problem. I also help with, helping you get your Medicaid provider number as well. Although I am in Florida, I don't only cover Florida. I cover states outside of Florida. So if that's something that you want to invest in, everything you do for your home care agency, for those of you that are serious about this type of business, is an investment, right? Anytime you invest in something, you will get a return. Okay, anytime. So especially if you're doing it with the right intentions, the right motives, and you're putting in the work to ensure that you are successful in what you're doing. So I do get a lot of calls and clients who, they just got their license and they don't know what to do next. So for those who you're not quite ready to start taking on clients, but you need to learn how to operate your home care agency, that's where I come in. I have a complete home care course that'll show you how to operate your agency from A to Z. And then I throw in a lot of freebies, resources, policies and procedures inside there, PowerPoints, training PowerPoints. So I'm giving you a lot of information inside of this course. And there's also a workbook. Once you purchase the course, you get the workbook for free. We're talking 50 something pages workbook, but it's going to help you stay on track and stay accountable to the process and to your success. Okay, so it is my goal that my products and my services help you guys along this journey to be successful. So no worries. If you can't do the Medicaid provider number right now, there are ways around it to get clients. And then if you want to focus on private pay clients or know how to manage them, then you definitely want to check out my course on how to manage private pay clients, right? Once you get a private pay client, you need to know what to do. What should the contract say? How are you going to invoice them? What's the rate you want to charge them? What particular services you want to provide? All those different things are covered inside of the course. All of the courses are self-paced. You move at your own speed. You can log in, log out. It's whatever. And if you ever have any questions, you can always email me at virtualhcsolutions@gmail.com, or you can call me at 386-800-2412. Okay, so hopefully this video helps you guys and spark something in you not to give up on your home care agency. You can make it work and you can do it. So don't give up. And like I said, if you have any comments, drop them below in the video. Please like and subscribe. and share this video. So many of you may have friends or family or colleagues, associates that's also in the home care business. Share this video with them. Okay? All right. Thank you.